In January, pushing the unemployment rate to 7.2%. It's the worst monthly employment drop in 30 years. Hello, you're watching CBC News Today. I'm Harry Forrestal. Well, combine today's jobless numbers with the increasingly dire predictions of economists, and you might be experiencing some pink slip anxiety. Is there anything you can do to keep your job off the chopping block? And if you have been laid off, what hope is there of finding a new job in a recession? Cheryl Boswell has been working out some answers for us. Cheryl is with online job site monster.ca. Cheryl, great to see you. Thank you for coming in. Tell us first, if you would, the view of what's happening from where you are at monster.ca, because you post available jobs. Have you seen the number of postings shrink?
Right, so what Monster does is we publish a Monster Employment Index every quarter. And what that does is it looks at online job recruitment in terms of online job postings. And what it does is it looks at the beginning of the hiring cycle. So versus Stats Canada, which looks at the as actual job hiring, we look at it as in the hiring cycle. So in the last quarter of 2008, we did see a drop in online recruitment in terms of the number of job postings.
How significant a drop?
It was very significant in terms of double-digit drop. But again, that's certain part and parcel of what's happening in the economy and the caution that companies are taking today.
What if you were talking to someone who was worried about their sector? Maybe not faced with a layoff imminently themselves, but they're in a sector that may not be doing so well. How do you, as an employee, assess your own vulnerability?
Well, I think first of all, if you do feel that you're in a sector that is vulnerable to layoffs, but there is some things that you can do within your own company, because another reason why companies may choose to lay off during the downtime is to get rid of some mediocre workers. And so if you can take that time to shine and really show your employer that you are valuable and that you are essential, then this is the time to do it. It's not the time to be mediocre at all.
Right. Okay, so now if you're faced with imminent layoff, if you know that's going to happen, how do you prepare yourself?
Well, I guess the first thing, and it's easier said than done, is don't panic. I mean, there's a lot of people in the same boat, but definitely you need to take stock. You need to breathe and understand what your cash position is, and start to build that out.
Yeah, let's deal with that.
Right.
You say understand what your cash position is. Deal with your debts.
Yes.
Clear those away as much as you can.
Understand
of course,
what that you have.
Most people carrying a mortgage. So,
right.
But you've got to have some liquidity as well, some available cash that you can stockpile in the next few weeks or maybe a couple of months if you have it.
Right, and don't wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, do it now. And I think we'd all be smart to do that, just given today's economy.
Yeah.
We all should be taking stock and certainly cutting back in areas that we can. But the other thing to do really is really look inside yourself. Really understand what skills, what abilities, what experience you've built up. Because even if you're in a traditional role, in the sectors that seem to be most vulnerable, so many of those skills are transferable, but you just don't feel that way.
What kinds of skills are you talking about?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about strong communication skills, project management skills are going to be very key.
Yeah.
And almost every role has some sort of project management that can be transferred, but you don't think about it because you think it's more of a traditional job role.
Right.
So those kinds of skills, even supervisory leadership skills, even if you're at a supervisory level in a manufacturing sector, again, if you show that strong leadership, then there is a way to market yourself in order to break out of that role.
And once you're out of that job, keeping your morale up, I presume, is imperative. How
right.
do you do
so don't.
that
Yeah.
in a climate like this?
The worst thing to do is to sit at home in your pajamas and wallow away, because you have to make this a job. I mean, looking for a job is a job. So the first thing you got to do is make sure your resume is up to date. Go to monster.ca and sign up. Really research postings. The easiest place is online today. Research job postings. What kind of jobs are companies looking for? What kind of skills are they looking for? And update your resume and ensure that your skills are aligning with what's being looked for today.
Now, here's the thing, because as bad as things are right now and as frightening as those figures we talked about with job losses are, there are sectors that are still hiring. So who's being squeezed and who's hiring, and what kind of transferability is there for people who are in the position of being laid off?
Right. Well, I mean, certainly manufacturing's been hammered, and there's no doubt about that. But any professions where that alleviate pain, so anything in the healthcare sector, but that isn't realistic for somebody in the manufacturing,
That's a hiring
right?
sector, healthcare.
Yes, healthcare for sure. Education in terms of the teachers that are retiring. I know that there certainly is talk of cutbacks, but we need to educate our children.
Right.
So there's still a lot of roles, and even if you're not a nurse or a doctor or a physiotherapist, they still need administrators. They still need technicians. So then there's also, look at skilled trades. Skilled trades are still very high in demand, and so if there's an opportunity to take those skills and build out a skilled trade, then you make yourself very employable.
So if you're working on an auto line, then the possibility of training as a welder is realistic.
Is much more realistic.
Provided you can afford the training.
Right. And, you know, there are certainly government programs that are there to assist. And certainly there's lots of online courses and community colleges, so there's lots of ways to get, but you have to have that desire, and you have to really understand that your skills can be transferred to a different role.
So healthcare, education, anything else?
Well, energy for sure. I mean,
energy. Tell me about that.
Well, certainly as we're looking for alternative fuel, so anything that would be in the field in terms of that. Security is still going to be a big field, because you know, crime's not going to go away. Companies are still going to need computer security is huge too. And a lot of computer skills can be learned today. So those basic computer skills are really important. And in this virtual technology-based world, the more that you can build those skills, absolutely the more employable you'll be.
And when you say build those skills, is it what's the best way to do that?
Well, again, take stock and really understand and really show some examples of where you have demonstrated certain skills. List out your accomplishments. List out the accolades that you've received. All of those will actually give you a morale boost, but then it will also allow you to match those to the kind of job openings that companies have today.
And of course, the key thing is networking, isn't it?
Networking is so key. It's more important today than anything with social networking and with just building your network. The easiest way to get a job today is to know somebody. You know the hidden job market. There's, you know, not all jobs are posted, but if you work that network, it's so much easier to break through that.
Friends, families, former work associates, whatever you can do.
Networking. A lot of networking events are free or very low cost, so you really have to get yourself out there. You have to market yourself.
All right, some good advice. Cheryl, good talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheryl Boswell is with the online job site monster.ca. Well, we have a lot more on our troubled economy. On our website, you can track Canada's January job losses using our interactive map. You'll find it at cbcnews.ca. Now, looking ahead, Monday's edition of The Passionate Eye compares today's economic crisis with the crash of 1929 and the Great Depression.